Hello, everyone out there. It's Makeda Valletta reporting live from Cali, Colombia, and I'm live on YouTube at the Renaissance Amazon, and I'm on IG at the_Renaissance_Amazon_81. And happy Easter to those of you who celebrate it. I got my Easter colors on of the pastels. Anyhow, I just wanted to do a quick video. I'm kind of busy. I have some things to do, but I'm trying to make it as quick as possible because you guys know I can be long-winded. And I hope you can hear me. But for those of you who follow my work, you know that I often speak about the fact that I was not raised religious. I was not raised in church or any of that. And I am thankful for it because I feel like I think for myself. But I also know what I am here for. And it's quite clear to me. And so the thing is that, what was I going to say? I definitely, I have a twin brother. I'm close to my dad. I always say that my dad was the first feminist I ever met. I have always resonated with strong women, okay? I've always looked up to strong women. Men have never really been my role model so much. I've always, and any time that I've heard stories, some religion saying that a woman is not allowed to be a priest, or a woman can't touch this sacred instrument, or a woman can't drum. Anytime I heard those things, it was always suspect to me. And thankfully, I have a father who encouraged me to believe that it's suspect, and to always do my own research, and to always think for myself and have critical thinking skills. And, so growing up, I went to church 3 times on my own because I just was curious, My dad was an atheist, but just because he was an atheist didn't mean that he pushed that on my brother and I. He told us, believe what makes sense to you. So I went to church a couple times, a few times with family friends, and I would ask questions, and nobody ever told me anything that made any sense. And I always had a logical, critical mind. I needed you to tell me something that makes sense. I've never been the kind of person that just goes along with the okie doke, okay? And my dad's reasoning for becoming an atheist is because he said when he was a kid, growing up in the church in Florida, he's from St. Augustine, Florida, that one time he remembers being a kid and he was in church and the pastors or a preacher or whatever, I don't know the difference because I didn't grow up in that, was saying that if you have sexual thoughts, you're going to ride hell and you're going to have, all this. The pastor or preacher was putting all this guilt into him for having sexual thoughts. And he said when he was a kid, he had a question with his school teacher, and he was terrified. He was terrified of sleep. He was terrified because of what they were telling him in church. So he just eventually rejected it and said, fuck that shit, and became an atheist. Then, he went on to become an extreme intellectual. My dad knows a lot about Islam, Judaism, Christianity. He can have a detailed discussion with you about it. Me, not so much. I grew up in New York City. I grew up around Jews, Muslims, Christian, atheists, whatever. But whatever religions I grew up around in New York, nobody was super religious. Nobody was pushing their religion on you. So, so even though I grew up around that, I've still been, never really into it so much. And I remember being in high school even and going to a mosque, and we had class in high school where it exposed us to world religions, and we went to a Buddhist temple. And I remember when we went to the mosque. We were told that women have to cover up because the men can't concentrate when they're praying. And I thought to myself, so you're telling me I have to wear all these clothes and cover up and be hot as fuck because the men can't concentrate? So patriarchal religions, they use women, women are the evil temptress, And what they've done, and this is true with Islam, Judaism, and Christianity, what they've done is taken traditions and mysteries that are hundreds of thousands of years older than the Bible or the Quran or any of those texts, and they rewrote the stories to make people hate the goddess, and everything associated with the goddess and the divine feminine is Satan, is evil. So the thing about Easter, I posted something on my Facebook page yesterday, I think, saying that I had never read a page of the Bible. I've never read a page of it. I don't know what the Old Testament, New Testament. I don't know what any of that is, okay? Even though my name is Makeda, and my dad named me Makeda. Makeda is the Queen of Sheba, was the Queen of Sheba. It's an Ethiopian name. Ethiopians a lot of times say Makda. Um, my last name is Benjamin, which is, from my understanding, Benjamin is linked to the 12 tribes of Israel or something. I haven't studied that. But the thing that I do know, I have a twin brother. My other half is male. I am a Leo, okay, a lioness, ruled by the sun. Natural born leader, okay. And Makeda was a virgin queen. And the Bible likes to take things and rewrite it. And so what I do know, even though I haven't read a page of the Bible, I have read a book that I tell everybody that you should read called The Great Cosmic Mother. The Great Cosmic Mother, Rediscovering the Religion of the Earth. And it's by a woman named Barbara Moore and Monica Sojo. Monica, last name is Sjoo. You can easily find it on Amazon. In 2006, I used to give this book away to people for free, like as a gift. It's like a 400-page book. And the book goes through a lot of these biblical stories and how they've been rewritten, how they were taken from older goddess traditions. And the truth is written in stone. This is why I say I always study ancient art. The truth is written in stone. The truth is in the songs, the dances, and the cosmologies of indigenous people all over the world. Not just Africans and Native Americans, but also the Middle East, also in Europe, also in Asia, the Polynesian Islands. Every place was matriarchal first. And under matriarchal religions, okay, matriarchal religions and traditions and cultures, which was everybody, did not suppress men. Men were still allowed to be leaders and chiefs and in positions of power. But the men who got in those positions of power is because a woman, his mother or his wife, put that crown on his head and said, he is supposed to be chief. He is supposed to be king. It was the woman that gave that man power. Now, and this is very well documented in The Great Cosmic Mother, and there are other books I can recommend. And this is the reason why I love the story of the Amazons. So when people ask me, why is your name the Renaissance Amazon? They think that I use the word Amazon because I'm tall. That's not why. Amazon women were fighting women, okay? But women who fought for their people, women who fought to defend, matriarchal traditions, because women weren't fighting before patriarchy and patriarchal religions started to, and this was different in different parts of the world. Patriarchal religions tried to overthrow the matriarchy, destroy our statues, destroy temples, destroy caves, and rewrite history. And the Amazons, which existed in Africa, they existed in South America, they existed in Europe, they existed in the Middle East, they existed everywhere, and there's lots of documentation. They were fighting to defend that, okay? You had which before the Americas was even colonized, you had, Europe in the Roman Catholic Church burning women, torturing women in Europe for being witches. And then they came over here and did the same thing, okay? And so what I do know is that Easter has nothing at all to do with Jesus Christ. It has nothing at all to do with the resurrection of Jesus or whatever the hell people are talking about. Easter is a celebration of Ishtar, okay? The Babylonian goddess of heaven. She's a goddess of sexuality, fertility, sex. I said that already. And war. Her symbols are the lion, the number 8, the number 16. And around this time, this was also, depending on, you have Ishtar, Astarte, Oestere, in different cultures. It's the celebration of the Queen of Heaven. And during this time, there were lots of orgies. It's a celebration of spring, which is new life coming through. So there were lots of orgies and, Ishtar's cult. And this is not just Ishtar. You find this all throughout the world of different, in India, this is very well documented, of certain goddess cults that had what you would call sacred prostitutes. And these women were sacred holy women that were in the temple of the goddess, and they had sex with strangers for money, and they used it to feed hungry children, and this was considered a sacred act. You can look this up. There's tons of books written about this. And so because the patriarchy was ashamed of sexuality, they wanted to shame people about sexuality and all those things, you had to make it all evil. And they rewrote the stories a bit. Because even this morning, and this is the problem with people researching on YouTube. A lot of the facts is not on YouTube. A lot of the facts is not on the internet at all. A lot of times you have to dig into books, scholarly texts. So this is what I was telling people when I said, people tell me I should read the Bible. I don't think I need to read the Bible. I read scholarly texts. I don't consider the Bible a scholarly text. I consider the Bible suspect, and it has people confused. And what it does is it takes stories that's way more ancient than the Bible and it's rewritten into history. His story. It took the mysteries of the matriarchal tradition and rewrote it into his story. Now, woman can't do this. Women bleed every month because we're being punished for whatever, because of Adam and Eve, which the Adam and Eve story is way more ancient than the Bible. There was civilizations on this planet for hundreds of thousands of years before the Bible was ever written. And when you look at the ancient art, they say the truth is written in stone. When you look at the ancient art, the most ancient artifacts are artifacts of the Venus figurines. They were nude women with their butt, their hips, their thighs, their breasts were emphasized. A lot of times they had no head. The very first time we started seeing men depicted in art was the male baby breastfeeding on his mother, the Virgin Marys, okay? That's the first time we started seeing that, okay? And so people, under matriarchal traditions, they acknowledged the fact that we come from our mother, okay? We come from our mother. Yes, the father is important. Yes, we need him to get pregnant. But we were incubated and grown in the wombs of our mother. We come from the dark wombs of our mother out of her vagina or cut out via C-section into her bosom, where we are then nourished by our mothers. Okay, so it's only right to acknowledge the mothers first. And why would the patriarchy want to come and make the goddess so evil? Everything related to the goddess is so evil and wicked. I'm on YouTube looking for videos of people talking about the truth about Easter, and all I see is people who do talk about it, but then they start talking about how it's so evil, and they start adding things to the story, which was rewritten about, in the goddess traditions, that they would be worshiping sacrificing babies. That's not true. Okay. The other thing is, what I was going to say was that virgin queen or virgin in ancient times did not mean that she was never touched, that she didn't have sex. That's not what that meant. Virgin in ancient times meant that this woman's sexuality, no man owned her sexuality. No man owned her sexuality or her body. She did what she wanted. She was sexually free. She has many sexual partners that she chose. No man owned her body. And all powerful men in past times were said to be born of virgin queens, virgin mothers. The patriarchy took that and rewrote it, and now this woman got pregnant by a spirit or got pregnant by some. No. That's not what virgin meant. Again, they try to take the sexuality out. Under the matriarchy, sexuality was a lot more free than what people see now. Yes, marriage existed, but people didn't just have sex with their spouse. Okay, people had orgies to celebrate life in spring. Okay, where's the bunny rabbit? All bunnies do is fuck. If you know anything about rabbits, all they do is have sex, reproduce exponentially. And then you have eggs. Eggs are symbols of the goddess. Eggs are symbols of the goddess. Okay? They're symbols of yes, they are symbols of transformation, new life, possibly even resurrection, but they're goddess symbols. Okay? Woman, we have eggs in our ovaries. Okay? Eggs are us. That's the feminine. That's the divine feminine. Where do you think pastel colors come from? Those aren't dude colors. You know what I'm saying? And so you're not going to find the truth on YouTube because there are people who talk about it. Like, I'm not a huge fan of Farrakhan, but I did find a video of Farrakhan talking about Easter. And he was even talking about how this is a celebration of the Queen of Heaven. It has nothing to do with Jesus, and how there were orgies. Lots of orgies that happened on this day. And that's exactly true. But because patriarchal religion had to put the fear of God into you and had to shame us for sexuality, they had to rewrite the stories. And so that's why I really encourage people to just take a look at my book list, because you might think that I brag about my intelligence a lot, but I am smart, okay? And I am very picky with who my teachers are, what I read, what I listen to. A lot of people read bullshit. And a lot of people don't have the ability to discern bullshit from real scholarly texts. And a lot of it has to do with being raised religious. and respecting the Bible to begin with. Because every time somebody quotes the Bible, it says to me, oh, well, the Bible says, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, I don't give a fuck what the Bible says. The Bible is not a book that I respect. People speak about the Bible as if it's the instruction manual that came with the earth. It is not the instruction manual that came with the earth. If you want to find the instruction manuals that came with the earth, you have to look at the ancient art. You have to go in the caves all over the world. What is written in stone on the walls? What does the Paleolithic arts, what does it say? And what we see, lots of nudity, lots of sexuality, nipples out. You know, you never have a goddess that's all covered up with a bunch of fabrics and shit. Never. Okay? And that goes for the entire world. The entire world. But under patriarchy, all of that had to be shunned. All of it. You know, so you have so many parts of the world, women can't walk around topless. Women, you know, get looked at funny for breastfeeding in public. I mean, all the suppression of sexuality has created perverts and sickos. And a lot of the perverted stuff that I see, even the sexual molestation, it happens within really religious institutions, really religious families of all sorts. Of all sorts, okay? And so for me, you know, again, you know, for those of you who follow my work, you know that since 2007, I've been teaching a class to women called Sexual Strength Training, in which I teach women to work with stone and crystal eggs internally in our vaginal canals to help strengthen our vaginal muscles, to help strengthen the muscles that support our these organs, but also it helps us to bring us up more sexual pleasure, make our orgasms more intense. And those of you who follow me know that I've been talking about this forever. And so the cosmic egg is something that I've known about and been researching for a long time. And there's a lot to say about the cosmic egg and the serpents. The serpents are goddess symbols. They're symbols of initiation, of intelligence, of wisdom. Okay, they're not evil. But everything associated with the goddess had to be made evil. The serpents, the cats, the owls. Okay, goddesses always were associated with a bird, okay, that informed them about what was going on in the ethers, in the heavens. Then the goddess had an animal that was associated with the lamb, okay, and then the goddess had an animal that was associated with the underworld. So you got the cat for the land, you got, you know, the snake in the underworld, and goddesses, that's where the truth is. And that's why when people say God, as if God and goddess is interchangeable, I always correct them because it is not. It is not. And when people say to me, oh, God knew what he was doing, he was making your body, and you're, you know, if anybody ever refers to my body being a gift from God or creation of God, I always correct them and say, no. This is the work of the goddess. This is the embodiment of the goddess. Nothing that is not about God. And no disrespect to men, because like I said, I have a twin brother. I'm very close to my dad, who I speak about a lot. But the truth is the truth. And I'm a critical thinker. And my brain wasn't poisoned with religious lies that now I have to detangle, and then I'm using the Bible as a piece of evidence. The Bible is not a piece of evidence for anything but lies. Okay? So the people that told me I need to read the Bible, I don't need to read the Bible. I'm a lot smarter than that. But definitely, like, one more thing I'm going to say and I'm going to go. For the black people who are watching this, right? There's a lot of people who are pro-black, a lot of black men who are so pro-black, to the point where they don't want to read anything by white scholars, which is a flaw, because there are white scholars who, especially Jewish ones, who've done amazing works on black people in the world, you know, and very good ones, or just very good works about whatever topic, you know. So I don't feel like somebody has to be black to report on black people or whatever, but there are a lot. But it is important to read history written by your people. Just because your people write it doesn't necessarily mean that they're telling the truth. I'm just saying. We all know that having black historians and black storytellers has been important to telling our story. So the same thing is true when it comes to women, but a lot of people don't think of this. A lot of men do not even realize how male-centric this world is. Don't even realize it. Because just like you could say the white man doesn't realize how much of a privilege he has being a white man and well, just being a man, period, even if you're a black man, you don't realize how some black men do, like my father, but a lot of even black men don't realize how male-centric this world is, no matter what your race is, you know. And so, what was I gonna say? As a woman, damn it, lost my train of thought. Shit. Oh, it's important, just like it's been important for Black people or for Native Americans or any ethnic group to have historians within their own group telling their story and digging through the facts, because other people can rewrite your story. Well, the same thing is true when it comes to women. Some of the there's a lot of books that have come out in the past 20 years of women who went to archaeological sites, female archaeologists and anthropologists who did the work without having a male anthropologist or archaeologist over them that they had to appease. And they show how so much stuff was covered up. In previous years, when archaeologists and anthropologists went to ancient sites and they uncovered things, and they saw all the women that were buried with all these, weapons and power symbol stones and things in their graves, and they, were buried like in certain places, certain sacred sites, and where there were no males, and this evidence in ancient art. I mean, there's a book called When the Drummers Were Women, written by Lane Redmond. It's called When the Drummers Were Women, written by Lane Redmond. She passed away a few years ago. But she was all in the Middle East looking at artifacts of women with drums in their hands, topless, okay? Playing drums at birth, playing drums at death. And places that now women can never walk around topless, and women are being attacked. It wasn't always that way. A lot of things have been rewritten. And this is why I am totally against patriarchal religion. I'm so thankful I wasn't raised with that. This is also the reason why I didn't love the movie Black Panther. I don't, but I did like Wonder Woman. Now, I'm not into superhero stories at all, really. I'm not really into the comics or superheroes. And I'm really not into religious stories like that either. Like, I don't have the longest attention span. When somebody starts telling me some biblical story, or I don't really have attention span for that. But the thing is the thing that I liked, the thing that, patriarchy, it's about dying into something. You have to die for this. Jesus died for our sins, apparently, on the cross, bleeding, right? But in matriarchal traditions, you are born into something. You are king, or you are queen, or you are powerful because you were born into it, because of your mother. And all over the world, whether it be in the Americas, in Africa, in Europe, you have art, on the walls, women with their legs wide open, and like menstrual blood coming out. Baby's head coming out, nothing coming out, wide open. Okay, women, this whole crossing legs thing, again, to suppress our power. You got men sitting with their legs wide the fuck open. Why do men need to sit with their legs wide open? We the ones that need air. We need air up in here. Okay? Women sitting with our legs open is a power position. Imagine if women, didn't have, we just had a loincloth, no panties, and we sat with our legs wide open everywhere we went. But we were surrounded by pit bulls, lions, animals that will fuck a dude up if you tried to touch us without our permission. Imagine that. Imagine a world like that. We would take over in a second, because men would not be able to focus. Trust me. Men would not be able to focus if women everywhere were sitting with their legs wide open. No panties. Men would be like totally stuck on stupid. They probably would need a dog to walk them so they don't walk in this shit. The only thing that stops women from doing that now is that we will get attacked. We will get attacked in the name of the patriarchy. She deserves to be raped. She shouldn't have been sitting like that. That's what the patriarchy says. So because of that, women have to suppress and hold back. And then women attack other women for being half naked like I am right now, and I always will be like this, because right now I'm in Colombia, it's hot as fuck. I was trying to be outside naked, getting some sun on my skin so I can nourish my skin, get my vitamin D, have my cocoa butter. This is how I'm supposed to be, okay? Putting on a whole bunch of clothes, that all came from patriarchal religions coming and telling Africans, indigenous people that they were indecent, they put some clothes on. That's all that religious stuff. So when I see Black people who are supposed to be woke, and they're talking about Easter is pagan and you're celebrating the white man's holiday, but then they quote scripture. You sound stupid. You sound like a slave, okay? Seriously. And I know that I'm rare in the fact that I'm probably one of the few people that was raised without religion. But I feel like it's done way more problems, way more bad than good. And so I think I made so I think I made the point I wanted to make in this video. I will put some resources below. There's an article in Scientific American actually about the truth about Easter and the eggs, and uh, do your own research. But you're not going to find it on YouTube unless you're going to find the people who talk about it and then hate on it. But they all talk about how Easter really is a celebration of the Queen of Heaven, and because there's a lot of Christians in paganism, they say that it's evil. They say that it's this is an evil day, but it's a celebration of sexuality, the sexuality and of the earth reproducing and bringing forth life is related to humans having sex and bringing forth life, and so that connection was understood, just like with hunting and sex as well. All this is documented in the ancient art, and there are symbols I will put below my YouTube video. I think I've said everything I needed to say for this video. I might do a little fertility dance later for you all. And if you don't follow me on YouTube, you can follow me at the Renaissance Amazon. And if you don't follow me on Instagram, you want to follow me at the_Renaissance_Amazon_81. Okay? Let's try to think real quick if I said everything that I was supposed to say, what I wanted to say. I think so. Make sure you read the book, The Great Cosmic Mother, Rediscovering the Religion of the Earth. Okay? Bye, people. Have a good day. Oh, and I am having an egg sale today, so I'll post about it later on my Instagram page. So for those of you men who want to get eggs for women, or women who get eggs or are interested in eggs, I am having a 20% off sale on my eggs today, and you can find that on my IG page at Nanny Eggs on IG.